Welcome home. It's October 18th, and the episode title is $55 billion. Dark Wizard Games won the RPG Publisher Spotlight. The interview with Mark, the owner, is live, and the first question is about the name, Dark Wizard Games. The company wasn't always called that. It began life as Freak Show Games, and for the first and incorrectly assumed to be the last game Mark did. However, he was asked by fans to keep on writing. The company then became Maximum Mayhem Dungeons, but that sounded more like a product line. As a result, the company changed names for a third time to Dark Wizard Games. Mark's raised $250,000 on Kickstarter, which is very impressive. There can be big money in gaming. Remember that $2 billion deal between the Embracer Group, which is a company who owns Asmodee, and what was believed to be a Saudi Arabian company? That fell through and forced Embracer into a series of painful cost-cutting exercises. The EA deal is 27 times larger, as the American computer games company is on the verge of selling itself for $55 billion to Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. However, there's significant backlash in the States. On the right, politicians don't like losing an American cultural asset to foreigners, and on the left there are concerns about the human rights records of the Saudis. Gamers might be worried that a public investment fund knows nothing about gaming. Also, from America, there's news, hopefully, of progress against the remains of Diamond Comics, which kept the goods of publishers hostage in their warehouses. Green Ronin has said that they and their allies have received an offer of mediation talks that they consider significant enough to treat seriously. Ultimately, I'm not sure there's going to be any winner here. A critical company has failed, but we can try and hope that the impact on those affected is reduced as much as possible due to people doing the right thing. A gaming deal to keep our eyes on, and which takes us back to the Embracer Group though, is that Asmodee has taken full control of the Middle-earth tabletop games. In the short term, we do know what this means for the One Ring RPG, which is made by Free League and not Asmodee, because the press release clearly says nothing will change. However, we can speculate that it will be Asmodee who decides whether Free League keeps the license when the renewal comes around. In 2022, when Embracer first muscled into the Lord of the Rings license, I talked to the Free League boss, Thomas Harnstam, and asked about this risk. Back then, Thomas wasn't sure, but at least Embracer HQ was based in Sweden. Let's see what happens next. It's not all been corporate wheeling and dealing this week. We have had some community successes too. In fact, we've seen community push back against companies. Siege Studios have dropped its attempts to trademark Warboot. Why? Well, in the UK, Warboot has been used for years to apply to a car boot style wargaming sale or any sort of swap meetup. It was a phrase coined and made popular by fans. Now, in an honest Instagram video, Siege Studios boss James Otero has apologised for the mistake, explaining that they wanted to create a network of Warboot events, but had gone about it without sufficient thoughts. The stories get even stranger though, and I think the news from Wargames Atlantic takes the biscuit. Firstly, Wargames Atlantic will repay 12-year debt from a Kickstarter from a company called Defiance Games. Secondly, the boss of Wargames Atlantic, Hudson Adams, announced that his name is not really Hudson Adams. What's going on? Hudson is actually Tony Reedy, and Tony Reedy was the boss of Defiance Games. You see, Tony tried again and in secret after Defiance Games failed. He learnt lessons, and now, a decade later, he is in the position to repay those old debts. Geek Native has been contacted by people who have received and already spent their returned money. I'm not sure I approve of Tony operating on the sly, but at least the karmic balance is beginning to be addressed now. While Defiance Games has managed to phoenix into a new company as Wargames Atlantic, the same is not going to be true for the comic book publishers Humanoids in the States. Sadly, the new name of the company is HC Wind Down Corporation. Oh yeah, the Humanoids, that's the publisher of Metal Hurlant, is being closed down in the States. It is a frighteningly tough market out there. In other comic book news, you can now get Judge Dredd guitar pedals. Oh yes, now your axe can dispense justice. The deal is with the music company Thorpe FX. And yes, it's a first because 2000 AD hadn't previously had a musical collab like this. I don't think it's much of a risk. Perhaps the biggest risk I took this week was going to see Tron Ares. You see, I didn't like the trailer, and I didn't mind the previous sequels, and I loved the original. I thought and worried that the Jared Leto film might be a total disaster, but emboldened with the use of a use or lose free cinema ticket, I took myself along to the big screen to watch it. Thankfully, I don't think it was a disaster. I don't think it's a classic, but it was certainly entertaining and avoided being boring in well-versed debates around AI. The movie I'm looking forward to, though, is Predator Badlands, where we follow a young predator on a quest to redeem himself. It's not as odd as you think, but British craft beer company Siren has teamed up to do an exclusive beer for the movie. The beer will be called Soundwave First Hunt IPA. There's already a waiting list for it. Yes, I'm on it. It's not such an odd deal because Siren has previously done a collab with Fox and Disney on Alien Romulus. I ordered a crate of that beer, intent on sampling it maturely and writing a review for you. I failed and I drank the lot in a night. Let's see if I do better with the Predator beer. Bronwyn blogged about a different collab between companies. Did you know you can get official Wednesday Doc Martens? We're talking about Addams Family Big Stompy boots. There's a bag and several shoes, each with a spiderweb theme. Bronwyn also reviewed Pad Creator this week, and that's a piece of tech intended to nurture art and science skill in your kids. Use it to take photos, draw on like a tablet, and then print out the resulting art. In Bronwyn's review, the early star is her pet lizard, Darwin, who seems very comfortable in front of the camera. I have 2 bundles to tell you about. The first is on Fanatical and from Goodman Games. It's the tabletop horror collection of DCC titles. The second is on Humble and from Magpie Games. If you're tempted by games like Root, the RPG, the Masks superhero game, or the Avatar Legends RPG, this bundle is for you. Thanks for listening. What would you do with $55 billion? Let me know on the blog or on Discord, and tune in next week.